Let's have a conversation.
You are now tuned in to Mindful Reality, the channel that covers reality TV from a mental health perspective.
What's up, family? It's Mimi from Big Brother Season 25, and you are now tuned in to Mindful Reality with Mark. I need for y'all to stop what you're doing and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe because the math ain't mathin', okay?
What's up, everybody? Good evening. Happy Friday. How are y'all's days? Did you do Black Friday shopping? I don't do Black Friday shopping anymore. I remember probably the last time that I did Black Friday shopping, me and my dad went to Best Buy because there was something that I wanted to buy at Best Buy. And this is when they first started opening up lines. Actually, this was not Friday. This was on Thursday when they first started with opening up stores at a certain time on Thursday after Thanksgiving. So we were there, and I remember we stood there for a good little bit. And this was the Best Buy in the same mall where the security guard got trampled to death on Black Friday. So now the line that we were in was not some free for all line where everyone stands everywhere. It was a line with two gates where you had to walk single file, and there was a heavy police presence making sure that the line was orderly and all that. So we were in the line for a while, and then my dad said, "Hold the spot. I'm going to go talk to the security guard." So he left the line. He went and he spoke to the security guard, and he was like, he showed him the flyer, and he was like, "My son wants to buy this item. Is it there?" And then the security guard was like, "Honestly, this is a door buster. So unless you're one of the first maybe 10 people through the door, you're not getting that." But he said, "I'll do you a favor. I'll radio in the people in there and ask them how many is in there." Called the person on the inside. They were like, "We have 3 of this item." So the first 3 people who come to this item, they're getting it. And we were way in the middle of the line somewhere. So it was gone, obviously, by the time I got there. Then I realized Black Friday is quite the scam. And working on Black Friday made me realize that also. I worked in retail on Black Friday. So now I stay home and then I Google sometimes if there's things that I need, I Google Cyber Monday deals. But there's sites that actually show you this is what the thing costs right now, and this is what the thing usually costs. Anyways, that's all a sidebar. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hi, Ma. Hi, D. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Now, to get to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is why I was disappointed in the Winner's Circle interview of Jag. I'll start by saying this. I believe that the Winner's Circle was actually one of the first, if not the first, Big Brother vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I think the Winner's Circle was the first one that I ever watched. And I watched it because of the draw for me, which is Cody and Derek of the Hitmen. Because the Hitmen, well, the first season that I ever watched was that season. The first season of Big Brother that I ever saw was that season. And because that's the season that somebody recommended to me, I said, okay, let me try this Big Brother thing in 2020. And I asked somebody who watches it all the time, what season would you recommend? They told me season 16. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? So, because of the fact that I like the Hitmen so much, I was like, this is going to be cool to watch a show that is based on 2 winners. Actually, I think at the time I started watching it was before. No, I think it was after Cody's win. So I'm like, the perspective of two winners who are still friends to this day, and they cover the show. Uh, Honestly, I feel at the time when I started watching the Winner's Circle, it was a little bit different than it is now, because a lot of people speak about how it's very politically correct. To an extent, it was always like that. And I know that a part of that is because, sponsorships are involved, and the show has people who have expectations of them. However, I'm not even one of those people that is like, oh, you should have dragged this man. I'm just a person that is like, you have to ask the questions. I haven't done that many interviews. I'm not some interview expert. I've done some. I've done 3 Big Brother interviews. I've done 3 Circle interviews. I've done a couple of interviews for the challenge. And I'm not one of those I'm going to drag the people when they get on my channel type of interviewers either. But I do ask the questions. And I have had people, when I ask them certain questions, I can tell that they respond a certain way because they've heard them before and they know what the fandom has done or what their castmates have done with their responses to those questions. And sometimes it's stirred up old things and old beefs. And I'm not one to ask them 5, 6, 7 follow-up questions on the same thing if they don't want to answer, because I'm not with that either. But when I watched this interview, if you can call it that, of Jag, it was basically, for the most part, Derek and Cody just congratulating him for winning. They said that he played an amazing game. They were complimentary. They were extremely complimentary of his comp ability. They complimented him about his loyalty to Matt and Bowie to an extent. And I felt like that was pretty much the gist of it. Yeah, Andrew is one of my OGs from the other channel. What's up, Andrew? I didn't know this was live. I thought I was listening to the replay. No, this is live and direct, Tasha. And the thing with their channel, the thing with Derek and Cody and the Winner Circle, they've gotten this complaint before. They've had this complaint before where people are like, you're not really asking them the tough questions. So I know that they're not necessarily a tough questions channel, and I don't really think that I am necessarily either. I would ask them the questions, but I wouldn't be like, hey, you're a misogynist, you're racist, you're this or this. If I have somebody that I feel that strongly about, I probably wouldn't even ask them for an interview, because I feel like I would be making a compromise. I'd be compromising myself in a way to ask somebody to do an interview that I feel that they've done certain things that are reprehensible, let's say, but I don't ask them those questions when they get on here. But my thing with them is that it's not like they don't have opinions. We heard what they had to say about Blue. We've heard about things that they had to say about the gameplay throughout the seasons. It's not like they don't have an opinion at all. So I thought that even if they gave Jag, even if they were light on Jag with whatever answers that he gave, I for sure thought that they were going to ask about the comments about Felicia and Cirie. I for sure thought that they were going to ask about moves that he's made, turning on Blue, Corey and America stuff. I'm like, where are the questions? I really thought that there was going to be a lot more questions than that. And I think it's weird that 16 is the go-to that everyone wants people to watch first, because I think there's way better seasons than 16. Hey, Lisa. Oh, yeah, I loved season 10. Definitely. A lot of people don't like 16, and I didn't learn that until people started asking me about my favorite seasons. And when I listed 16 as one of them, they were like, 16? 16 is terrible. Oh, and then they were so happy in telling him, oh, we didn't know all these years ago that when we made the Hitman, there would be you and Matt uh, talking about the Hitman and saying that you modeled the Minutemen after the Hitman. And I'm like, come on, especially Cody. Cody has strong opinions about everything. And I'm like, even Cody has become very tame. And then another thing that they keep saying is, well, we don't watch the feeds. We just get all of our feed stuff from the Twitter updates. I have a hard time considering you as a legitimate media outlet without watching everything that happens. I'll always give them their just due and their credit because they were on the show. Anyone who was on the show has experienced something that myself and the fandom has never experienced, and in my case would never experience because I don't want to. But if you're putting out videos weekly about the goings ons in the show and you're not watching it and you're not watching the feeds, the opinion now is coming from who? The fans. And we've seen that the fans often go with the crowd. And sometimes the leader of the crowd also is not watching the show or the feeds. They're just going on Twitter. Twitter, I realize, is its own show. Who can deny that? I just watched a repost of a Twitter space before I got on here. The original Twitter space had a couple of thousand views on it. The repost had about 25,000 views. 25,000 views. And there wasn't even that many people watching the space. They're like, okay, now the season is over. We can transition over to the Twitter off season. We could literally take everything that happens on Twitter on a day-to-day basis and turn that into a series. I wouldn't be the one to do it because it would just be too much for me, but people live on that. I said that because 16 isn't the be all end all, and 16 wouldn't be there without the seasons before it. That is correct, and that's the reason why they hired Tiffany last year to cover the feed specifically. Like, we have our feed coverage and we just watch the actual live show and we go from there. But I'm going to say this too. I feel like being on the show and even having won the show does not mean that you have a passion for the show. That doesn't even mean you like the show. You could get on the show because you were presented the opportunity to get on the show. You can win because for whatever reason you were able to do the best and manage the social game the best out of whoever was there in the house. You could win with any strategy, as we've seen. You could win with a Jag strategy where he actually told them, they asked him, like, did you reach a point where you realized that you just had to win out? And he said, yeah, I realized that I had to just win out. And he won 10 competitions, and that's the reason why he was able to even be in there to win the show, because at a certain point, if him, Bowie, or Matt had not won either HOH or veto, he's on the block and he's out. We saw Ty win that kind of game on BB Can 11. But I'm saying that to say, I've seen some winner circle videos because I used to watch that religiously every week. And I remember Cody saying I wasn't the biggest Big Brother fan. I always wanted to be on the challenge. But it didn't work out for me to be on the challenge, but it worked out for me to be on Big Brother. So you don't even really have to be a Big Brother fan. And you can tell, even amongst the people who have played on the show and then started doing coverage, you can tell the ones who are really into the game versus the ones who are, it's a job. You know, I'm going to get the viewers because I have the machine behind me and I'm a known name that has competed on the show. Now, if you look at somebody like Hannah does cover, has been doing coverage of the show since she's been off the show. And she has a lot of other things going on outside of her Big Brother stuff. But she does the coverage because she genuinely loves Big Brother. And you can tell in between her studies and everything, she watches the show and she catches the feeds and she shows up to all these events. Let's see. 10 and 14 were so iconic. You're so real for that, Andrew. I wish you had this interview because you would have asked the right questions. Well, I didn't request a JAG interview. The only one person that I have requested an interview, no, I shouldn't say one. I have requested 3 interviews this season. Two of the 3 told me yes. One told me it depends on CBS response, and they never responded. But the point of that is all 3 that I asked, I emailed CBS and they have not responded. So we'll see what happens with that. Would I do a JAG interview? I don't know. I guess it would make sense just for the building of my channel, but I kind of tend to feel like I've seen enough JAG interviews at this point. But let's say that I did have an opportunity to interview JAG. I would ask all the questions. I don't know if before, I know that he has his brother as his manager, and I don't know if beforehand they kind of screen the questions, because I know that happens with CBS. So I don't know if they do that, but if I was able to, I have questions that I would ask and they would be good. I like Tiffany, but I don't think she's very interested in doing the recap of the show. I think she's more interested in being on the shows than recapping. I kind of do. She's going to host reindeer games. Modern Big Brother wouldn't exist now without the old school gameplay and players like Danielle, Dan, Janelle, Rachel, Kalia, and Libra. You know what? The thing I don't like about the modern day Big Brother is the fact that you don't really have to be strategic to win the game. I felt like the old Big Brother, the ones that I have watched anyways, they used to have to be more individualistic players. It was not, we're going to do what the house wants, we're going to do what the team wants, the squad wants. They would form their duos. Like a Matt and a Jag would not be well known. What I mean by that is, Everybody knew who was with who in this house. Everybody knew. These two are together. These two are together. These three are together. These four are together. This is this person's group. This is this person's group. Before they would meet up and then they would show day one, this person and this one have this secret conversation. They're like, I really connect with you. I want to be in the final two with you. But let's not show that we are in a group together. So then they'll go and disperse amongst the house and talk to everybody, form their groups with all these different people, and then come back and confer. Hey, so I'm in this and this group. This person said they're targeting you. This person, and then the other one is like, oh, that's interesting. I went to this group and this person said that they're targeting you. So I'm going to do damage control and try to get another name to be thrown out there instead of your name. I got your back, blah, blah, blah. And they do it like that in a behind the scenes strategic kind of way. Whereas now it's like, hey, who are you working with? Oh, well, I'm working with this one and that one. And who are you working with? And it's like the people who are talking to each other about who's with who is not even aligned together. That's gameplay to them. Transparency is gameplay to them. It's not worth it, honestly. Jag's answers would drive bonkers. I've come to realize Daniel Reyes probably would have still lost regardless. No Ma, without them watching the season, they would have voted the right way. It sucks because she definitely deserved to win. She happened to be in the era where they started doing live feeds and everybody was bitter. One thing they were asking him was about when he made his final speech. And Derek specifically was like, I thought that you might have lost it by making such an aggressive speech. And Jag was like, I thought that I could have lost it too. But he said when he was basically weighing everything out, he said, there's no way that I thought that I could win without owning my moves. Because he said, if me and Matt are both like, this is a partnership. Yeah, we did this together. It's a partnership. Then they're going to give it to Matt because Matt managed his relationships better. So he's like, I had to go out there and own my moves, and everything that I said was true. And I'm sitting here like, I remember him being like, I am the most dominant, strategic, and masterful player in this game. And I'm sitting here like, no, I don't feel that way if I'm stacking you up against past champions. Now, where I will give the man his credit is winning all those competitions. He did what Michael could not, because he was on Michael BB24 time for the last several weeks of the season. So I'll give him that. He was alternating vetoes and HOHs, and then when he wasn't winning, his group was winning. Matt and Bowie, and saving him because they wanted him to have that money so bad. But in terms of just thinking that he was this dominant force that was just mowing through the house, no. I felt like some of that was luck. And I know you need some luck to win Big Brother, but, you know, luck and circumstance. And I guess I would give him some of the social parts of it, but mainly with his two that were really riding for him, not with the whole house. It's really unfortunate. Only half of the winners at most deserve to win their season. You know, actually, if I had been a judge, he would have never gotten my vote. I'm sorry if I'm ranting too much, but what happened to the days when everyone voted for their own game since only one person won and fun blindsides? These people talk about this is my best friend after a week or less in the house. Oh, they're going after my best friend. I'm gonna get revenge. My best friend would be that check at the end. I made it. Good evening, Mark and chat. Good evening, Ed. What time is it? 7:10. So I'm gonna be on here like another 20 minutes. I might come back, but this one was specifically just about the interview itself. So that's the reason why. That's part of the reason why I'm cutting this off fairly short. What about Cam and Red? We had so many people at the beginning of the season that had so much potential to play this game in a way that was really dramatic, strategic. But then everybody was like, oh, because I can't beat this person in the end, we got to take them out. We can't beat Heisem in the end, so we got to take him out. We can't beat Izzy in the end, so we got to take her out. Or in Cam's words, you're a dumbass if you don't vote for Izzy to go over Felicia. Right the time. What does that mean? I should check out that interview. Jag idolized those guys. Yeah, first of all, y'all can check out that interview. Go ahead and check out that interview, and you can have your own opinion on that. But my opinion of that interview, it was about a little less than 30 minutes, and there was not too much asked in that interviews, and I was kind of surprised. They called each other best friends after 5 milliseconds. Hello for everyone. For me, he is. You know what? Honestly, Jazz Lady, I always use this person as my example. Josh Martinez. Out of any season that I watched, Josh is probably my least favorite winner. I acknowledge everybody who wins. I don't necessarily have a list of this one deserved to win and this one did not deserve to win. And the reason why is because they won. And they still had to get to the end of the game. And they still had to get a jury to decide that they were the winner. So they won. Obviously, if I'm taking them and ranking them, Josh would be on my lower tiers of winners. Jag would be on my lower tiers of winners. But they're on the winners list. So it is what it is. I guess to you, 3640 is not about 30, but yes, Mark, I agree. That's why Big Brother Canada usually gets it right, because it's more diverse than US. You know, I know some people who love BB Can more than BB US, and I know some people who don't, and they say that it's corny. I'm kind of on the fence, and the reason why I'm on the fence is because I've only seen 2 seasons. I loved BB Can season 5, but BB Can season 11 did not have live feeds, so that really ruined my experience for BB Can 11. I still watched it, but without having the feeds, that was terrible for me. I don't know what time I might come back on. But if I do come back on, I will definitely put it in the Discord and on my community page. Yeah, because actually I remember last season, there were so many debates going on about whether or not Taylor deserved to win. Now, obviously, I was rooting for Taylor to win, so I was happy that she won, but there was a large group of people that were like, she didn't deserve to win. She got saved in the beginning by the leftovers, and then they were trying to say, oh, she slept her way to the end, blah, 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 with Monty, and he protected her, this and that and the other. And I'm sitting there like, she had the odds stacked against her from day one just because of people targeting her. Um, am I going to say she had the best Big Brother strategy of all time? No, but she definitely deserved to win. She more than deserved to win. That's why I don't get into those conversations really, because if it's somebody who is endearing to you, you're going to feel like they deserve to win. And if they are somebody that rubs you the wrong way, you're going to feel like they didn't deserve to win. That's just the way that it goes. By the way, y'all, I haven't done this in a while. Whoops, that was the wrong one. We have 22 people on the chat. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. And hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content, because we need the number of likes to match the number of viewers. Because
what sense does that make? The math is not mathing.
Please help the math. I'm gonna watch BB Can. If they don't, they said that they were renewed for a 12th season. If that 12th season does not include live feeds, I'm not watching. I said that last year, or I think it ended this year, early this year. Yeah, so I'm not watching if it doesn't have live feeds. I'm never gonna get over him being evicted and coming back, even though Sari convinced Matt to use the power. Taylor gets a lot of flack from her win just being a good story. She manipulated her position in the house. Jag should thank Sari for the 750K. I heard people say Taylor was targeted and had a great social game at the same time. She did. She was and she did. Jag was the greatest winner of all time. I would love to hear you talk about why. Better than Dan Giesling, better than Dr. Will, better than Derek, better than, there's a lot of people on that list that I would put ahead of Jag. So I'm curious to know your reasons as to why Jag is the greatest winner of all time in Big Brother history. What is your argument for that, Dr. X? You got that right, Ma. It's so interesting to think of the contrast of winners. Until people back those comments up, I just assume that they're just in there to drop the comment and leave. That's kind of what I assume. I like arguments, not statements. When I say arguments, I mean I like when people say, I like this person and they were good at the game because, versus just being like, boom, here's this statement. People did that last year. Oh, but what I was saying is that it's such an amazing contrast of the way that BB 23, 24, and 25 were won. BB 23 was one with the cookout, and the person who won, which was Xavier, was, kind of calm and cool, laid low behind his alliance, won when he needed to, and was very political and strategic. Season 24, Taylor didn't really win too much in terms of comps, but she was very, very good socially, and she was good at, after the leftovers thing, kind of downplaying her threat level. And she worked Monty into thinking that she was the better choice to take into the final two. And imagine if he had not taken her into the final two, we would have never heard that speech. And then season 24, 25 was like, strategy be damned. I'm just going to win my way to the end and let y'all know that I won my way to the end. Jag was great because he had a target on his back from the moment he came in the house. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that he had a target on his back from the moment he came into the house, because they took out Kirsten and they took out Riley and they took out Heisem. Like, there was a lot of people that had bigger targets on their back than Jag because he kept winning. Dick Donato would have scared him to leave the game. He wouldn't win so much in that season. Jag was able to manipulate Cameron when Cameron won HOH the second time to trust him. I don't even know. It's hard to even say that he manipulated Cameron to trust him. Cameron was already voted out of the house. So he didn't have many options of who to work with. And he even said this in all his exit interviews. He was like, I didn't have too many options. I didn't trust anybody. But he said, out of who was there, my goal was to attach myself to the people who were most likely to win competitions. So even if Cameron had not gone the Matt, Jag, and Bowie direction, nobody else was winning. That's the other thing. Nobody else was even winning to even make those choices at a certain point. I think we had a couple of like Blue won a power veto. There wasn't many other people winning HOHs to be able to really influence what decisions were being made. I would more consider it a point of his manipulation of Matt and Bowie versus his manipulation of Cameron. Cameron was backed into a corner and didn't have too many options. He got lucky with those moves and they were so boring. If Sari didn't convince Matt to use the power, then Jag would have been gone and he was in an alliance with Bowie and Matt. Let's be honest, Bowie was too much of a follower to cut him. He also won the most. That's essentially why he won the game, because of having the most comp wins in history. Not strategy, not manipulation, but just he had the most influence over the decisions that were made because of winning the most. Even Bowie wasn't winning until jury. It was just Jag. Isn't it a 33% social, 33% strategy, 30? Not this season. I think in a typical season, yes, I can agree with that. I think that season 24 was much more weighted towards social, and season 25 was much more weighted towards comps. But I think that that's a good, average number for those things. He did win the most, but that's it. And that's what I give him his credit for. He won the most total comps. He won the most POVs. I'll give him credit for that. If any of y'all watched BB Can 11, the season they just had, it was kind of similar for Ty. For Jag, it was 50% luck, 50% comps, pretty much. Again, he won against people that were not meant to play in these comps. Michael was playing against bigger players. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for jumping on. I appreciate you. I hope that you've had a good week. Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, whatever you happen to do. This was a good discussion. I respect everybody's viewpoints, and I like the fact that everyone can be on this page and be respectful of one another. You know, when I post this, people are gonna do what they're gonna do with it. I don't really care. I'm gonna be on to the next video by then. And the reason I'm saying that is because I know how the Big Brother community and the Twitter community does by now, but I do what I do regardless. And again, Lisa, I don't believe you. I think that you wait until you hear me say I'm about to go, and then you hop on at that point. Production help with Jags win the path to power, playing the HOH after the invisible HOH. Yeah, those parts were not fair. Especially that one, playing the HOH after getting the invisible HOH. Because the path to power, I mean, they haven't had one where someone was just selected to come back in. They actually had to battle back. So I think that was a little bit unfair that he didn't have to do a battle back to get back in and he was just chosen. But the main one was the invisible HOH and then him getting to play in the next HOH. And conspiracy here, but I can definitely see production's hands in it because even Corey said on Mimi's live the production wouldn't let them tell Mimi that she's leaving. I love these discussions. Gotta watch this back. I'm so sad I missed this. I saw you at the beginning. What happened? Yeah, Ed, and anyone who hasn't seen the interview, go check it out. Just type in the winner circle if you don't watch the winner circle. It's the latest thing on there as far as I know. And Ma, I think, said it's 36 minutes and 40 seconds. I do not memorize the times of how long their interviews are or any interviews, even mine. But it's apparently 36 minutes and 40 seconds. Check it out. And if you feel differently than anything I've said, feel free to drop that in the comments and let me know you love the interview. You thought it was good. It asked everything that it needed to ask. That's fine. I don't give people opinions. I just tell you mine and you choose whether you agree or disagree. Mm-hmm. I think that BB needs to bring back. Yeah, this was heavily favored to athleticism, definitely. My mother-in-law called there's some drama in with my niece. I didn't memorize. No, I said I don't memorize because you looked it up and then told me, no, your number is off. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great evening. And we'll talk again soon.